everyone, I'm Helen.
And I'm Maggie.
And welcome to our podcast, No Time to Diet. Yay, I got it right.
Right. And today we have Claire with us. On Instagram, I met Claire first of all as CC Skips. You CC Skips, is that right?
CC Jumps Rope.
Damn it, I always do that. Yeah, and don't even get it right first. I CC Jumps.
I know, I went all Americanized. I don't know why I called it that.
No, but I went American with it as well. I went American with it too, because I jump with Maggie.
Yeah.
But the reason that you're here really is because of that, because you've really discovered joy in exercise from that skipping or jump rope, if we're going to go American, that you do. So we'd love to hear your story about kind of like what your history, relationship was with exercise before that, and how you've come to the place you are now, and what that place is really.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long history with exercise, really. I mean, it's never been great. It's never been particularly healthy. It was always completely attached to weight loss, and there was solely no other reason for me to exercise other than weight loss. So I've been through all kinds of fads in my life with exercise. So when I was at university, I used to swim loads and loads and loads. And then I stopped doing that because I couldn't do it perfectly or enough. So I stopped swimming. I then I went through some walking phases and some pedometer phases maybe for a little while. I joined a gym when I moved to my part of Cambridgeshire, which actually, to be fair, the gym was really amazing. There was a really amazing PT who started me off. But he was really, really fit, and like most PTs are, but it wasn't. When I looked at him, I never thought that I could be anything like him. So he'd given me this bespoke plan, and actually when I look back at it now, it was great. It had kettlebells, it had cardio, had strength work, but again, my sole purpose was to lose weight, and when I was doing it, I wasn't losing weight. So I never thought that I would measure up to the PT. So again, that was kind of short-lived. And I was having to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go, and it just wasn't sustainable. Something I should probably mention is that I've always been really busy. Like, I'm a terminally busy person. So I've been a musician since I was 7 years old. And so I joined my local brass band, and I'll be out practicing and playing with them. And then that kind of developed as I was doing my A-levels, and I was out playing for different bands, and I was playing trumpet, and I was singing, learning to play the guitar, and I went and did a music degree. So I'd literally be out every single day with different bands, different musicians. I'd be in the pub every day because that's what you do after rehearsal. And so from there, I went into teaching, so full-time teaching, and I was also playing in maybe 2 or 3 bands. I then started to run my own choir. I'm a terminally busy person. I like to keep myself really busy so I don't have to think. So yeah.
It's interesting you notice that, like, that little bit there is quite important, so I don't have to think. What have you noticed that is connected to?
I think probably, I don't know, I think it's something that's just developed over time, probably from like just all of the bad stuff that's happened in my life. Like everyone has stuff, don't they? Mm-hmm. Everyone has stuff, and I have quite a lot of stuff. but equally, and so I like to keep myself busy. Being busy became a coping mechanism, to the point where I was working insane hours, like really crazy hours through my teaching, and I was picking up other people's workloads. But even though I was doing that, I was still playing in bands, I was still running a choir, I was still doing private teaching. So I was teaching 5 days a week at school, doing private teaching on the side, and I was in all these different ensembles. So I would never, and I'm still not very good at sitting down and watching TV and things, but also that meant that exercise was a complete chore. Like, I didn't have time to do it. If I did, it was only in short bursts, and then I think that's not enough. So ultimately it was that self-fulfilling thing where I'd just stop again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I'm an ultimately busy person, and it took me being at like nearly the point of collapse to go, or actually it wasn't me that realised, it was my husband, who's brilliant, who was like, don't think you're quite right.
Oh.
And obviously I was really, really angry with that, but it took somebody close to me with, you know, enough balls really to talk to me about it and make me face up to it. And so I had some counselling, some therapy, and I was like, why can't I cope with my workload? And she was like, because it's ridiculous. But I didn't see that. I didn't realise that at all.
Do you think the exercise you were doing was therefore falling into that same realm of punishing yourself with stuff to do, with must lose weight, must do more stuff, you don't do enough? It was same as that whole collection of things.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just one more thing to beat myself up about. I'm not eating right. I'm not exercising right. And actually, yeah, that just kind of got linked in with all this being really, really busy. And and so it was just an unhealthy kind of routine. And I kind of sorted my head out a little bit. And then I started running. And I actually really enjoyed running. I really did enjoy running, and I made loads of progress. I was never a great runner, don't get me wrong, I'm not like Usain Bolt over here, but I did make progress, like lots of progress. And so I got up to doing a 10k, and then I was really pleased with myself. But again, I was still berating myself because I wasn't really losing much weight at that point. I was loads fitter, I was loads healthier. I didn't realise, but my head was functioning so much better. But because I wasn't losing weight, I got trapped in that cycle again. And that really frustrates me, because that's probably the best my fitness has ever been. And I did challenges where I was running every day, and I was improving distance, improving time. And then I got pregnant.
I mean, that's going to throw a spanner in the busy works, isn't it?
Yeah, it really did. It really did throw a spanner in the works. And so I got to maybe 3-4 months, and things were just starting to pull, and I just didn't feel comfortable running. And so I was like, right, okay, I need to knock it on the head and just stop. And I got really poorly over pregnancy and had gestational diabetes. And I say poorly. Yeah, but I didn't feel poorly. I felt great, actually. And there was no choice in me moderating what I ate or how I moved. I was walking all the time, because it's the only way I could get my sugars down. So actually I lost weight. I was feeling better and feeling healthier. Like, even though I was poorly, it kind of forced me in a healthy pathway. And I guess for yourself, you don't always prioritize yourself. Like, I definitely don't always look after myself. But I was pregnant, and I was gonna look after my baby no matter what happened. So actually, yeah, and it just, I was going to look after her, and I put everything into being healthy, and actually I felt loads better because of it. But the priority was for her. And then she was born, and I had a horrific birth. It was awful. It made me really poorly, couldn't move. I still really suffer. I had an emergency C-section. She nearly died. I nearly died. It was just really traumatic. Well, I say it was really traumatic. Probably the most traumatic was for my poor husband, who was there just watching it all.
Yeah.
And so, I had no choice but just to get through it. And I knew that staying calm would be the best for me and the best for her. But he just had to watch it all. So yeah, that happened, and couldn't move. Like, everything's still kind of broken. And and so I really didn't exercise after having her, because it just didn't feel right. My body wasn't feeling right. Actually overstretching. I tried doing some like gentle yoga stuff, but that was stretching me too much. It was just, it just didn't work out for me. And so I just kind of stopped and decided to go on a diet. I know what I need to do if I can't exercise is go on a diet.
That's it. It solves all when you can't exercise, right? Yeah. How did that go, Claire?
Well, I mean, how do you think it went? I mean, but as much as I laugh now, it was my final diet. like, thank goodness it's the last time I did it. And it lasted exactly 3 weeks, and then my head fell off and I was a wreck. I I couldn't exercise. I've been on this diet. I couldn't look after myself. I was berating myself more than ever, but I had a small person. And my husband was like, yeah, you need to get sorted out because you're still doing it. And you can't teach her that. Like, the last thing you want to do is teach her that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And so I started reading about intuitive eating. At first, it was intuitive eating. So I was doing loads of reading, and then I made that into a diet because there's some rules in it, and I like to rule. So I read a book called Can I say a swear word?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. You know the book I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah, the Fuck It diet.
Yeah.
That's the one that broke me. Like, it broke all of my mindset. It just smashed it up. And I stopped trying to intuitive eat, and I stopped trying anything. I just stopped trying. And it was great. Like, trying to be intuitive is really hard because
it doesn't work, does it? Yeah. It's this idea. I've worked with a few people now, sort of one-to-one coaching with intuitive eating, and we'll get like to week 4 or 5, and they're like, we're not talking about food. I'm like, no, for very good reason. Because otherwise, yeah, absolutely, it's so easy to go, well, this is the hunger fullness diet, or this is the only eat when I'm really at level 5 of the hunger scale diet, or
yeah, exactly. And so again, I struggled with the intuitive bit until I lost everything, and then that re-taught me. My body taught me. I didn't have to try. My body naturally re-taught itself hunger and fullness, but it took ages. Like, we're talking like probably a couple of years, really.
Yeah.
And
I think that's important to note as well, because it takes that long. You're breaking years. Like you said, you try to look for more rules, and you will. If you're a person who's lived with rules, you want to find the rules, right? Where are the rules? How do I do without these?
Yeah, that is the hardest thing, isn't it? Letting go of having any guidelines or anything.
It is. And still, I would search for things, but actually I just kept squashing them and was like, no, just stop. And actually, after, I'd been a couple intuitive eating, I'd put on some weight, which I allowed myself to do. I just completely allowed myself to do. I don't know. Well, I say I put on some weight. I smashed up my scales in a nice cathartic. And like, in some point in that 2 years, I took them out and smashed them up in the garden. So I maybe put on some weight. I don't know, but it felt a bit more bulky. Maybe my clothes weren't fitting quite as well, and I just allowed myself to do it. But that got me to a point where I was like, oh God, I need to do something, because actually I don't feel good. That's the first time that I'd ever said I don't feel good. I would always say I don't look good.
Right. Yeah.
That's the
And
thing.
so I was like, I do not feel good. I need to do something. And I don't even know where the idea came from. I was just like, I want to skip. I want a skipping rope. That looks fun. Maybe I should do that. And then just like a little delve around Instagram was like, oh, look at all these people. Look what's happening. Look how cool they are. And actually just being able to, like, as a musician, just being able to have music on, and like, it's helped me rediscover my love of music. And I really struggle to run to music because I hate my feet not going at the right tempo.
I have that problem.
Hard, yeah. And then you look for songs at the right tempo, don't you, for your pace?
Yeah.
But with skipping, I'll be like, oh, that song's slower. I'll try crosses, and I'll try this, and I'll try tricks. When it's faster, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do footwork. So I can just shuffle a playlist, and I just do what the music tells me, and I just kind of go out and enjoy it. So yeah, so I found skipping, and I started and was like, this is amazing. And I was really quickly, within a couple of weeks, I was really hooked. And I was following loads of people on Instagram, like Coach Chris and Lauren and Maggie, and skipping with Sarah. And that's when Sarah, I think, just started a few weeks before me. And and she was brilliant. She really like coached me through loads of stuff at the beginning. And so having a person without an agenda to just be there and like just be like, oh no, that's great, try doing this, have you tried this, what about this, was brilliant. And it wasn't a person who was like, try this, you'll lose more weight, try this, you'll get fitter. It was like, oh, have you tried this trick, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Do you know, have you noticed how much her face is lit up?
Yes,
Since Claire started talking about jumping. It's
really
like
that just joy of movement, just for the love of it, rather than it, as you'd said at the start, being, I've got to do this. It's
and it's just, it's so like, skipping for me is so creative. Like there are so many different styles and so many different tricks and so many different things you can do, so many different pathways, that I would have so many goals at one time, but none of them would be related to fitness or weight loss.
Yeah.
They would be goals on things that I wanted to do because they looked really cool. And so it was all skills based. It all became skills based for me.
Yeah.
And I naturally, I could feel myself getting fitter and fitter and fitter. And then some of the goals changed. I'll be like, oh, I'm going to do 50 jumps, and how long will it take me?
Yeah.
And so naturally they became fitness goals. And then I discovered heavy ropes and was like, this is a new thing. I'm going to get really strong. And I bought myself some heavy ropes and just loved them. I really enjoyed them. But they took me back to like needing to exercise for being strong or for being fit. So actually it made me wobble a bit. It was weird because they were more fitness based and creative based. They made my old brain go, you're not doing enough.
Got you. Yeah, so it was still there, it's still creeping back in and going, hang on a minute. So did you put them aside for a bit when you noticed that?
Yeah, and I started doing some other stuff actually. I got my kettlebells out and I started skipping intervals and doing some kettlebells and some strength stuff. But I found that if I planned myself like a fitness routine, I would then be frustrated at myself. So I find it much better to feel what, like on the day, feel what I feel like. And what I've noticed is usually I used to be like, right, first I'm going to do the weighted ropes and I'm going to really, really push myself and I'm going to do my fitness. And then I'll be entitled to my fun stuff and the tricks. And so that actually still was a tiny bit like non-intuitive. So it was like, right, I'm going to punish myself first and then I'll deserve to do the fun bit.
Yeah.
And so I kind of stopped and just gave myself no goals for a while. And what I found was that I would go out, do fun stuff, do tricks, and then it would naturally warm me up and I'd want to do really heavy stuff. And so I'd get the weighted ropes out. For the last 10 minutes, I would just beast myself until I'm like out of breath and sweating. And it felt really good to like beast myself and finish myself like off. And I was like, I've still got more, I've got more, I've got more. So I push myself harder and harder. So I'd be like, well, I'm just going to do another 10 minutes. And so I'd push myself. I'd be like, I've only got 2 minutes left. I'm going to push even harder.
And now it becomes about what can my body do? What's it capable of? Like, yeah, rather than I have to do this because X, Y, Z. Now this is fun. I'm going to keep going. What can I do? Can I keep going? How much more have I got in myself? And it becomes a bit of a challenge.
That's exactly it. And because like it's truly become intuitive, because actually I just let my body, I was like, right, I'm just going to go out with no goals, nothing. I'll just see what my body does. And then I realized, oh, actually this works way better. I've done it 5 times now where I've done like fun, like light skipping. And then I've gone out and like gone into beast mode. Maybe that's what I want to do. Maybe that's what my body wants to do. Yeah. So by, again, like with the eating, by losing all goals, like it allowed me to just explore and actually look at what my body wanted, which is so weird. I'd never, like with exercise, none of it was about what my body wanted. It was all about what I wanted my body to look like. So it's an
important message, isn't it? And like you mentioned before, like you've got this little girl now who looks at you, who's modelled by you, and for her to see you going out and exercising for the pure joy of it, just because you want to, there's no better message than that, is there?
Totally. And I look at her and she's like the pinnacle of intuitive movement. She's like, so My little girl's got autism. She's like very, very high functioning now. She's very verbal. She's got a really great understanding. She's like super smart, which is just amazing. But she jumps and runs on the spot and twists and flaps, and it is all part of her like coping mechanisms of life. And it just feels, I just look at her and it just feels really great for her. And like when you just take her outside and unleash her, she just runs as fast as she can because she just loves how her body feels. And I look at it and I'm like, it's so amazing. I never ever want her to lose that, because actually she's finding like complete joy in this movement. And the movement happens when she's experiencing joy, like when she's doing something that she really loves, she flaps and jumps because she's so excited and her little body's just expressing it, and it's just so amazing.
I love that so
much. Sweet.
That actually shows how intuitive movement is.
Yes,
like that's there, isn't it? Like this is what my little girl does when she feels so joyful, and it shows what it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just don't ever want her to lose those things, because actually it's like it's a superpower. Like, God, I wish that actually when my brain felt really stressed about things, and now I do, now when my brain feels really stressed, I know it feels amazing to go outside and skip. And it's such a brilliant coping mechanism, and it fills me with endorphins. Well, her brain is built that she just already intuitively does that. She's like, I feel a bit overloaded, I'm going to jump up and down for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. And get it all out.
Yeah. And how amazing to have that freedom of expression without because she's still at this age where she hasn't fortunately been molded by these rules of you will do this and exercise is done because of X, Y, and Z. She's just doing it because it's what feels good for her and what feels right. And
absolutely. And she can't be happier than when she's like outside running around, like jumping about. She just loves it. Like she really wants to start gymnastics and things. We took her to some taste sessions because she loves rolling and like and so that's her thing. And she's like, we watched like things like Ninja Warrior, and she's like, Mummy, I want to be strong. So it's just so cool.
Amazing.
Cool. She wants to like do parkour and stuff, which is like ridiculous. She's nearly 5.
Absolutely amazing. Do you know, if we could just get every adult back to that feeling, just like put it all aside, doesn't matter what people say you should do, like even if it's just standing and doing that, like
or lying on your back and doing that.
Lying on your back and doing that.
That's exactly what she did when she was a baby. Like she would lie on her bed and her hands and her feet would flap and kick when she was really happy. And sometimes it's like will still happen now. Like she has to be really, really happy for it to happen. But sometimes she'll just be like overwhelmed and she'll just lay on the floor and flap like a baby because she's just like, I'm so happy. Like I'm so excited. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I wish no one had ever introduced any rules around it for me.
100%. The thing is, I think now as well, like because of where you are, and because she is already, connected in that way with it, you're just going to be able to nurture that, and she's going to have that role model by you as well. You go out in that yard and you just have fun, and you can see that as well on your grid. If anyone hasn't seen Claire's grid, CC_jumps, not skips. Go and have a look, because honestly, it is a grid of happiness, and it's one thing that drew me to it as well. Like I totally get it, because it's the reason I do it too. It's just, it feels free, but like you said, it also feels creative, and it feels like you're developing a skill, and there's loads of really amazing stuff to it. Thank you so much, Claire, for sharing.
Thank you for having me. It's really nice to share. It makes me really happy and really proud of actually how far I've come. It's nice to reflect on it as a whole, because when you're doing it like over the 2 years where you're trying to lose all those rules, it's like it feels like such tiny steps and you're going forwards and backwards. So it's really nice to talk about it as a whole, and actually that's a huge journey, and I'm not ever gonna go back to that. So it feels really like validating. It's really nice.
That's awesome. Absolutely brilliant. I'm glad we've been able to be a part of that reflection, because
Yes.
and hopefully as well, your story is going to help other people find what their joyful movement and intuitive movement is as well, which is
Absolutely. And I'd love if, you know, if people ever just need like someone to cheerlead them, like just come and like see me or Maggie or someone on Instagram, because like that community has just cheerleaded me on. Like it's
100%.
just so brilliant. Like
It's such
like,
a wonderful community, isn't it? I think it pushes you into it further because of how lovely everyone is. Everyone just like will message you and say, well done. Like you get something and everyone's congratulating you, and it's just
so nice.
it's such a lovely place on the
amazing
internet.
community. And no one is commenting on your body or on, you know, what's happening. It's all on like your skills, and you know, and people are so, there's just such a diverse range of people doing it. It's just amazing.
Yeah, truly inclusive, isn't it? It's brilliant.
It really is.
Yeah, love it. Thank you so much, Claire. Lovely to
thank you for having me.
Thank you for spreading the joy.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
We need to say what I
was just going to say, we've plugged Claire and we need to plug ours,
which is
Spark Life UK.
No, Spark Life _UK. Honestly,
I was going with the website. SparkLifeUK.com is the website.
It's the website. There we are. Oh, amazing. Thank you very much, Claire. And thank you everyone for listening.
Yes. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.